Hey everybody, welcome back to Whiskey Central. If you're new here, my name is Shayla, and today we're reviewing Bushmills 10-year. So I've got some history for you today, but if you want to skip around to other parts of the video, there's timestamps in the description box below. And if you enjoy whiskey reviews, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any new videos. The first license to distill was in 1608, but production didn't start until 1784. There was a malt tax introduced in the 1850s that saw many distilleries switch to using a portion of unmalted barley in their mash. This led to the single pot still variety of Irish whiskey. But Bushmills 10 still uses 100% malted barley, although they do have whiskeys in their range that use a portion of grains in their mash, like the original Bushmills and Blackbush. A large fire destroyed the distillery in 1885, but it was rebuilt soon after and started production again. At the height of Irish whiskey, there were over 80 distilleries in Ireland, and only a handful of those survived, Bushmills being one of them. But today, there are almost 40 distilleries operating in Ireland. They were owned by Pernod Ricard in 1988, and they sold to Diageo in 2005. They grew dramatically under the Diageo leadership, and they sold to Casa Cuervo in 2014. Diageo owned half of the Don Julio tequila brand, and Casa Cuervo gave up the remaining 50% stake to Diageo for the Irish whiskey brand. Bushmills is the second largest distillery in Ireland, producing a triple distilled whiskey. They run 24/7, they have 10 pot stills, and they produce about 4.5 million liters per year. Alright, so let's get into the details of this whiskey. This bottle will run you about $45. It's owned by Casa Cuervo, and it's located in Northern Ireland. It's aged for a minimum of 10 years, it's 40% ABV, and it's made from 100% malted barley. It's aged in ex-sherry and ex-bourbon casks. It's about 90% ex-bourbon and 10% sherry, and this is colored and chill filtered. Alright, I'm going to pour a dram of this, let it sit for about 10 minutes, and I'll be right back. Alright, I've let this open up for about 10 minutes. Let's go in the nose. So the first thing I get is apple. There's kind of like, maybe like spiced apple, like a little bit of baking spice, apple, tons of vanilla. It kind of is like, maybe like a Speyside and a Lowland had a baby, but it's a little bit lighter smelling because it's triple distilled. And then I get a wonderful honey note. Absolutely love the honey note on this. And I get a little bit of bread, like tiny bit of that shortbread cookie kind of thing going on. It's not as prevalent as some other Irish whiskeys that I've had, but it is there just a little bit. And then I get this note, which I'm going to call green banana. It's like this very fresh note, kind of like unripened fruit or something like that. I originally thought it was grass, and then I was like, no, it's not grass, so I'm going with like a green banana. Alright, let's go on the palate. Cheers. Yeah, it's like vanilla, creamy, little bit of spice. That apple comes through. It's really sweet. There's some barley sugar on here as well. I gotta say though, it's a tad bit underwhelming. Like, I don't know. The nose is good. The palate is just, it falls a tiny bit flat. There's kind of a, I don't know, just some sort of little flatness to it. That may just be the 40% ABV and kind of my palate. So let's go for another sip. Cheers. Yeah, I would say short to medium finish. It's a smidge thin, which is to be expected. It's 40%. It's sweet up front, sensation-wise, and then a little bit drying on the back. This is a pretty decent dram, so I'm going to finish it up, and I'll be right back with my recommendation. This is a good dram to start the evening with, or to start your journey with, but there are less expensive options that are better, like the Teeling Single Grain, Teeling Small Batch, or for another $15, the Teeling Single Malt. All of those being 46%, they're going to give you so much more to grab onto. This is a little bit thin, and there is just not enough flavor in here for me to buy this again. I don't think this whiskey is designed with the whiskey enthusiast in mind, and that's okay. It's one of the gateway whiskeys that will get other people into whiskey. But at this point in my journey, it's a little bit underwhelming. Some other more interesting non-Irish options at around the same price would be Glenfiddich 12, Aberfeldy 12, or Auchentoshan American Oak. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Whiskey Central. Next week, I'll be reviewing something that my patrons vote on, so if you don't want to miss out, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, leave it a like. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Videos. Whew, fuck that up. And it's, oh, no. Sold to Casa Cuervo in 2014. Fuck, messed it up. Okay. Fucking killed it. First fucking take by Casa Cuervo. Nope. dear. Dearie me. Kinda like a Space Side and a Lowland had a baby, but it's lighter. 7, they have 10, god dang it. It's just not connecting with me. I mean, we'll see. I haven't given it much of a chance, to be fair. My palate is just not engaging with a lot of 40% whiskeys anymore. Like, it really has to be 43 or above for me to get any engagement out of it. If you're a huge brand and super popular, 40% is fine for you. It makes you more money, and it's just a gateway whiskey, you know? You'll get into the better stuff later. So I had that flight with Teelings, and I was really, really surprised at how much I enjoyed them. I think previously I thought, I don't like Irish. That's what it is. Like, I don't like Irish compared to all these other types, you know, rye, bourbon, scotch. But I think really what it is I don't like 40%, or I'm not engaging, connecting with 40% whiskeys. All those Teelings were 46%. And the amount of flavor that you can get from those. They're also non-chill filtered, pretty sure they're natural color, so kind of amazing. But would not buy this again. I'm not sad that I have it. It's really good in a hot toddy. Like, I'm not sad that I have it, but I'm not ever gonna buy it again. You know, it's just too meh. It's a nice, light, easy sipper. Nothing really offensive, but just nothing really mind-blowing either. So, those are my extras thoughts. Hope you enjoyed them.